Our last speaker. He is an integrity partner. He flew all the way from Vegas to be here today, and his agency is more than 10x'd since he signed his deal 14 months ago. So please welcome to the stage, Mr. Andrew Taylor.
You guys are getting real good at putting these together. Thank you so much. I'll be quick and do not leave for Sean. This was the way I thought of everything the whole time I've been in business. This was from bagging groceries a few years ago to getting to a point at FFL where I'm like, I couldn't even believe how much money I was getting paid. And what I want to tell you guys is I would try to understand how Sean is going to go over the business model instead of leaving early. That's the way I think. I go, okay, I want to know how he's communicating this. The guy built a massive company. So instead of me leaving with everybody else that probably won't make it, I'm going to learn how he's communicating. A lot of things that I've done is just learned and hung in there until I was able to make money, or actually able to make a lot of money. I talk about a lot when I first started on bagging groceries. I quit. I literally I didn't have much money to buy leads. Is anyone in that position where you go, I don't have that much money to buy leads? Probably a few people in here. Probably most people that get started. So what Sean told me when I first started is he goes, Andrew, you can either use money, which you don't have, to get a lot of leads and you won't have to spend as much time dialing them on. Or you can use time. And if you're lacking money, you have to make up for that with time. So that means you could go buy 100 older leads for a few $100s, but you have to sacrifice your time. It's not going to be that easy to book a bunch of appointments. So what I did is I go, okay, I'm going to resolve every single lead, which means I'm going to get a yes or a no from every single person. That means I'm going to door knock everybody that doesn't answer the phone. Does anybody in here think if you had 100 people that filled out a lead, no matter how old they are, and you resolved every single lead in a week, that you would not make a sale? Anybody believe that? Okay. Now, there were a few weeks where I would get in my own head and go, is this working? Or I would listen to a family member that said, you shouldn't work on the weekends. Or they would go, hey, don't you just want to take a break? Now, in this first few years, I wanted to get to the point to where I didn't have to worry about money anymore. And I wanted passive income, which this is the best vehicle for passive income I've ever seen. Better than real estate, and I've tried a ton of real estate. This is far better. You can make way more money, and you don't have to put as much money in. So what I started doing is I go, okay, if I can take, let's just say there's 100 leads, if I can make one sale, I'm still making money. Now, what I do with that money was the important thing. If I take that money and I spend it on something that can't make me more money, then I'm dead in the water, I'm out of business, I start all over again. If I take that money and I invest it in leads that I actually work, then I can make another $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000. And through years of being in the field, this is the only business that I know of that you could wake up $50,000 to $100,000 richer within a few weeks. So I had a few appointments. One of them, I used to wear maroon pants to appointments. And I used to wear maroon jeans to appointments, okay? And I go to this appointment, there's a Corvette in the front yard. This is my last appointment of the day. Brandon said, make sure you go to your last appointment. Always go to your last appointment. And I get there, the guy's license plate, I'm not making this up, says sign here on it. I'm like, there's another agent with a Corvette. I'm in my Saturn. This dude's in the home. I go to the door, and they go, hey, there's another agent here. Do you want to wait? It's 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, do I want to wait? No, not really. But I'm going to. I go back in my car. I wait for this guy to leave. He has a full suit, three-piece suit on, all this stuff, cufflinks, all this stuff. So I'm going to show this guy like $100 a month cash back policy. But I get in the house and I go, what did he show you? He goes, oh, he showed me a $1,700 a month IUL with Mutual of Omaha. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. We have those. Do you want to see those or something else? He goes, I really liked that plan, but that was a douchebag. I'm like, okay, so I literally made $20,000 in this appointment from just going through the numbers. And this happened over and over and over again, but it doesn't happen if you don't show up. One time, Paul McLean gave me a lead. It was 2 hours away, he didn't want to go. The lady, I go, I'll go. I drive 2 hours, one appointment. Show up, which I don't recommend doing, but if you don't have any appointments, I do recommend doing it. So I show up, she's like, hey, I'm like 19 years old. She's like, hey, you want some wine? I have this rule, I'm like, I always say yes to every customer if they offer me something. I'm like, sure. Next thing you know, she's like, I got $500,000 here, I need an annuity, you're so awesome, can you help me hang my TV? Whatever. Calling me back, my mom's tiring, whatever. But all I did was show up. And so what I want to, hopefully you guys leaving here, you guys saw a lot of success stories here today. And you go, the question a lot of people have is, can I do it? And what I always tell people is, you 100% can do it if you work and you stop listening to everybody else. So you just have to live, and it's okay to work 7 days a week if you need money, or if you're in a bad situation, it's okay. But it's not forever, it's just for a short period of time, until you get out of that situation, start building an agency. And to give you guys an idea, Family First Life, and we don't talk about money, houses, cars. It's not about money, houses, cars. To me, it's about freedom of not working for someone. That's what I personally like. I don't want to work for somebody. I want to do what I want. I want passive income. I want my family to be taken care of if something happens to me. Right? But FFL's paying people millions of dollars a year. And from going from a few years ago where my close ratio is 25%, and just sticking to the course, getting on the trainings, listening to Sean Mike, using the system, not overcomplicating things, not listening to people, then all of a sudden, last year, FFL was paying me almost $3 million for the year. That was the gross total deposits that they gave me from bagging groceries before I got into the industry and being a pretty terrible salesperson, but just going through the numbers and still being able to make a good living. I'm like, dude, this is the best business ever. Somebody said, what's your secret to recruiting? And I literally said, no, they said, can you give me a training on recruiting? And I go, how are you not recruiting? Can you give me a training on how you're not recruiting? It doesn't make sense, you know? So the best time, and this is something Sean Mike taught me, you guys know he was in the field when I started, when the company started 7 years ago. He was in the field selling like a ton of insurance. We would go to a meeting, we'd get to the airport, everybody would be having a glass of wine, and Sean would be making appointments in the airport. Literally going, I'm coming over tomorrow at 1. Booked like 20 appointments in a row, telling everybody who's coming over. The best time to start to get what you want is tonight. That's what I tell people. You're serious about this? Let's go crush it tonight. Let's book our schedule tonight. Let's not stop. So, thank you for having me.